Welcome to the deep dive. Okay, so today we're zoning in on just one classic guitar pedal, the Guild Foxey Lady Fuzz. But we're using it to, peel back the layers, uncover this really fundamental business strategy that kind of secretly shaped the whole early music gear market.
Yeah, and our sources for this, they give us a really remarkable window into, let's say, the late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
Looking right at that overlap between the brands you'd see, like Guild, and this often, hidden world of original equipment manufacturing, OEM contracts.
OEM, yeah.
It's really a story about how tech gets spread around. Standardized, maybe, often without the customer having any clue what's really going on under the hood.
So our mission, it sounds simple, but it's fascinating. We're going to unpack how Electro-Harmonix EHX, right?
Yeah.
Known for their amazing, sometimes noisy pedals.
Absolutely.
How they were quietly building stuff for companies that were, supposed competitors. And the weird result is, if you're looking for a vintage Foxy Lady today, you might not just get one pedal sound. You could get one of, 3 totally different fuzz circuits inside.
It really is, yeah. It's a genuine identity crisis in a metal box. A classic case.
Amazing. Okay, so set the scene for us. Around 1970.
Yeah, exactly. I think 1970, maybe 71, the effects market was just exploding. Fuzz was everywhere.
Right.
And EHX was already making noise, literally, with the LPB1 booster, the simpler Muff Fuzz plug-in unit, and, of course, the brand-new, game-changing Big Muff Pi.
The Big Muff, yeah. Huge sound.
Huge. Meanwhile, Guild guitars, respected name, they're looking around seeing their competitors, Vox, Japanese makers, everyone just cleaning up with fuzz pedals.
So Guild felt the pressure. They needed their own branded fuzz unit, something to go up against the tone benders, the fuzz faces, those Shinai units that were popping up everywhere.
Exactly. They needed to compete. But here's the key decision for Guild.
Yeah.
They decided not to design it themselves.
So they took a shortcut.
They took the fast route. They contracted Electro-Harmonix, right there in New York, to build a fuzz pedal for them. And that pedal would be called the Guild Foxey Lady.
Okay, but that contract immediately hit a snag, didn't it? Something about EHX's own process.
Well, yeah. It's a classic early electronics issue. Standardization. That costs time and money. EHX was moving fast, always tweaking circuits.
Right. Improving things, cutting costs.
Exactly. So it looks like they just used whatever fuzz circuit was, current on their own assembly line, or maybe easiest to build in quantity at that moment, to fill the Guild order.
Okay, let's dig into that circuit variation, because this is the core of the identity crisis, isn't it?
It really is.
If you buy a pedal, especially from a known brand like Guild, you expect consistency, right? Same sound every time.
You'd think so.
But the sources are clear. The Foxy Lady had at least 3 known fundamentally different versions inside.
Right.
So what are we looking at? What's version 1?
Okay, version 1, the earliest ones we know about. These had just 2 transistors.
2 transistors, okay.
And pedal historians, people who've traced these circuits, they basically say, this is the simple Muff Fuzz circuit, the little plug-in one EHX made.
So sound-wise, we're talking.
Yeah.
Smaller, raw, not the big smooth sustain yet.
Definitely not. More gritty, aggressive, almost like a really thick overdrive that tips into fuzz.
Yeah.
Less sustain, more attack. That early kind of raw fuzz sound.
Got it. So not the wall of sound.
Yet. But then pretty quickly, it seems, the circuit changed. Version 2,
Yeah.
It jumps up to 3 transistors.
3 transistors. Why the change?
Well, this is interesting. This moves the circuit closer to other things EHX was playing with, like their Axis fuzz. And that design had roots going back to, European tone benders.
Tone benders. Okay. So maybe EHX felt the 2 transistor version wasn't beefy enough compared to the competition.
That seems likely, yeah. The tone bender sound was really popular, offered something different, more complex clipping usually, more gain, definitely more sustained than that basic Muff Fuzz.
So this middle Foxy Lady would have sounded thicker, more mid-range maybe?
Noticeably thicker, yeah. Probably more mid-focused punch than the 2 transistor one had. A completely different sound, really. Big shift.
Okay, and then the plot thickens even more. Version 3, this is where it gets really confusing for someone buying one blind.
This is the big one. The later version, it had 4 transistors.
4?
Which means it was effectively, the famous Big Muff Pi circuit, the early triangle Big Muff, just
Right.
dressed up in Guild clothes.
Wow. Okay, so that's the iconic EHX sound right there.
That's it. That creamy, singing sustain, the scooped mids. That's the Big Muff signature sound.
So if you bought an early Foxy Lady, you got grit.
Right.
You bought a later one, you might get, Pink Floyd in a box.
Exactly. It totally depends on when it rolled off the EHX line that year, or month. It's a factory lottery.
Incredible. A total lottery for collectors now, I bet.
Oh, absolutely.
But the outside, the look, Gil controlled that, presumably.
Yeah.
They wanted some consistency.
Yeah, the aesthetics were pretty consistent. They used those typical big folded steel boxes, similar to what EHX was using for their own stuff at the time.
Okay.
And they had the Foxey Lady name, often said fuzz on it.
Yeah.
Looked like an EHX pedal, basically, just with Guild branding.
So that external look is important. It let Guild project this image of a stable, branded product while completely hiding the fact that the guts could be one of three totally different things.
Exactly. Total chaos inside, consistency outside.
That contradiction, hiding the technological schizophrenia, that seems like a perfect way to talk about the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Why was EHX doing this? Why build pedals, complex circuits even, for a company that was technically a competitor?
Well, it really boils down to business survival, cash flow, especially for an innovator like Mike Matthews running EHX.
Right.
Electro-Harmonix notoriously ran them really slim margins back then, late 60s, early 70s. Innovation costs money. Ramping up manufacturing costs money.
So these OEM deals, building pedals for other brands like Guild, that was crucial extra income. Reliable money coming in.
Absolutely crucial. Immediate, reliable revenue. It wasn't about ego or brand purity. It was about keeping the lights on.
Yeah.
Financing the next circuit design, the next production run.
And that steady cash helped them grow.
Yeah, that stable capital was vital. It let EHX expand their manufacturing, buy parts in bigger quantities, which lowers costs, increase their output overall.
And this whole OEM thing, it wasn't just EHX, right? You mentioned this is common practice.
Oh, yeah. Our sources really stress this. It was standard industry practice globally. You just have to look at Japan during the same period.
Ah, like Shinai.
Exactly. Shinai was an OEM machine. They built the insides, fuzzes, wah pedals, you name it, for probably a dozen different brands.
Univox, Shaftesbury, Apollo.
Yeah. Univox, Shaftesbury, Apollo, Kent, Jax. Tons of them. They mastered the art of rebadging. Shinai handled the manufacturing, the electronics. The other companies handled the marketing and distribution under their own names.
So EHX was just playing the same game over in the U.S.
Pretty much. And their OEM work wasn't just Guild either.
Oh. Who else?
Well, the sources talk about EHX supplying similar fuzz circuits, maybe slightly tweaked, maybe not, to various smaller house brands. You know, the kind of name that might only appear in one music store chain in one region.
Names nobody remembers now.
Mostly, yeah. And also, small distributors sometimes bought basic EHX units like the Muff Fuzz or the LPB1 booster and just slapped their own brand sticker on them.
Okay, so EHX was basically seeding the market with their circuits, just under different names.
Like they were flooding the market, yeah. Which brings up a good point for you listening. Why was this strategy so good for EHX beyond just the money?
Right. There's more to it. It seems like a massive double win. Yes, the cash was essential, but just as importantly, it let EHX push way more of their circuit designs out into the world without the EHX name even being on the box.
Yeah, think about that. If you connect this to the bigger history of guitar effects, this quiet infiltration, it was really key in establishing the Big Muff circuit as like a baseline, a fuzz standard.
How so?
Well, the Foxey Lady, especially the later Big Muff version and all those other rebranded Muff variants, they spread that 4-transistor sound way beyond New York City, where EHX was mainly selling initially.
So they were kind of setting the standard, defining what a high-gain fuzz should sound like even through other companies' pedals?
Exactly. It was this silent but really effective technological takeover in a way.
Okay, and what about Guild? What was the upside for them in this deal? Why agree to sell basically an EHX pedal?
Speed and reliability. That was the huge benefit for Guild. They got instant entry into this booming effects market.
Right. No waiting.
No waiting. And they got a proven, complex, high-quality circuit without doing any of the hard work themselves. They completely assessed the massive cost, the time, the R&D headaches, the trial and error.
They just rode EHX's R&D wave?
Pretty much, yeah. Guild was basically renting Mike Matthews' engineering team's expertise.
So they got a pro pedal ready to sell straight away. They could cash in on the fuzz boom immediately.
And that shortcut, that strategy, is a big reason why Foxey Lady pedals are such collector's items today.
Yeah, the link to early EHX history is cool, but you're saying collectors actually want the different versions.
They chase them specifically because of that circuit diversity. It's the ultimate irony, isn't it?
It really is. People want to collect the set precisely because the product failed at being consistent. They want the 2-transistor and the 4-transistor.
Exactly. The Foxey Lady is this perfect little time capsule. It shows how blurred the lines were between EHX's own famous pedals and the tech it was supplying to other companies.
Sometimes literally the same circuit, same big muff guts, just different paint, different name.
Yep, and that's how Electro-Harmonix quietly shaped the sound of things to come. They didn't just sell their own gear. They built the foundation by embedding their circuits into their competitors' catalogs, all through these OEM deals.
Okay, so let's bring it all together. The final synthesis here. The Guild Foxey Lady story, it's not just about one quirky old pedal with unpredictable insides.
No, it's much bigger.
It's really about understanding how things like manufacturing limits, super fast innovation, and these kind of cutthroat business tactics in the early days.
Yeah.
How they created these weird technological overlaps that nobody really saw.
Yeah. A powerful reminder that sometimes the most important tech, the stuff that really changes things, is hidden behind somebody else's logo.
Right. Which leaves us, and you listening, with a final kind of provocative thought to chew on, building on this.
Absolutely. When you buy something premium, something with a specific brand name you trust, could be a vintage pedal, could be modern software, could be anything, really, and you pay extra for that label.
Yeah.
What are you really buying if the core technology, the actual engine inside, is basically identical to a cheaper version sold by someone else?
Where's the real value then? Is it in the circuit design itself, the intellectual property, or is it all just in the brand name, the label on the box?
Something to think about next time you're plugging in, or maybe even buying anything.
Definitely something to ponder. Okay, that's all the time we have for this deep dive.
Great stuff.
We'll see you next time.